I was very positive about the minister's speech. I think in light of all the things that people were postulating on what could go wrong, how bad it could be, it was quite positive, especially for the general South African and their economic prospects. I think for me the key takeaways are that we need to focus more as business and government on creating inclusive growth and figuring out pathways to do that. I think it was government's commitment to spending more with these SMEs and small businesses. And then I also just think the other key takeaway was that, we're in a stage of slow growth. We need to appreciate that, and we need to make decisions that understand how that works and continue to build for all South Africans that idea of inclusive growth again, whilst also trying to create that growth and prepare for the times of prosperity. There needs to be financial and non-financial support, and that was kind of mentioned by the minister in his speech. I think at the Awethu Project, we view our business in two ways. One way we're solving for income inequality, and the other way we're solving for wealth inequality. To solve for income inequality, that's where we really focus on skills development, formalizing businesses so that they can participate in the economy further. And that's one aspect of it in terms of, using education and the education funding of the budget towards viewing entrepreneurship as a skill and a meaningful path towards a career, towards economic upliftment. On the other end of it, though, we also provide funding to entrepreneurs and smaller businesses, more mature businesses that are in corporate supply chains. Now, even then, there still needs to be an element of skills, because not everybody who's an entrepreneur understands necessarily the technical capabilities of what's required. And so I think that the budget touched on the need for skills, and I think that there are service providers out there who are doing it and seeing the value. And I think that, in my view, that's the way to create values. A government needs to create the space, create the access to funding, and then other parties, private parties, need to come to the table to bring that value as well. Well, I think always more can be done, especially understanding where we come from as a country. I think this idea of radical transformation, economic transformation, is somewhat of a misnomer. I think that inclusive growth is the table stakes and something that we need to do to survive and grow collectively, because without it, as the minister mentioned, a growth without transformation will entrench inequality, and transformation without growth will only facilitate patronage. The one thing that I would mention, though, towards doing more, I think, is really actually executing and implementing the promise to small businesses to procure from them, getting them in the government supply chain, and then also helping other businesses access those businesses as well. Because if you're building a business, the whole market needs to engage with them as well. They shouldn't be captives of the government only. And I think that if the promise is executed to pay suppliers, after 30 days, as something that was mentioned in the SAICA report as one of the core reasons why SMEs do not do business with government, is the acknowledgement that they don't get paid. I think that that will create so much value, not just for government, but for businesses who will now have a track record and understand how can this business deliver for me based on how they've done for government.